I'm in the Savannah State Forest in northern Minnesota, making my way out to an island on a frozen lake. I'm using my new e-bike to transport myself as well as a sled full of heavy gear, because I'm doing something a little different on this trip. All right, this is gonna be home for the night. It's a beautiful island. It's the largest one here on the lake, and as you can see, it's got a phenomenal campsite. The only thing it doesn't have is shelter, and so I gotta get going on that right away. Before I bring the sled up and unload some of the gear, I wanna find a couple trees that will act as the structure, the main supports of our shelter. I'm looking for something that's naturally protected. In here is great. We're surrounded by trees. It'll have far less wind. I'm kind of thinking these two right here are gonna be perfect. It looks long enough for me to be able to sleep sideways. We'll be able to put a support across here, and then the shelter will go back a little bit. It's just gonna be a simple lean-to. All right, so I am fairly new to shelter making. I've done it a couple times in the past, but they are very basic tarp shelters. This one's gonna be a tarp lean-to as well, but I am gonna try to fully enclose it a little bit better, at least, than I have in the past. And to kind of dip my toes in the pond, so to speak, of bushcraft shelters and all of that, I decided to bring a bunch of gear to help me do the job. I have a chainsaw, I brought a shovel, and I have a cot and a sleeping bag and other stuff like that. I'm kind of trying to give myself as much help as I can to have a success, so that maybe next time I can challenge myself a little bit more. This lake is made up of 3 primary islands. You've got the smallest one on the far side of the lake, which I actually camped on not too long ago in my snowmobile cabin. There's a slightly larger one nearby, which I camped on last year. And then there's our island today, which is by far the largest one on the lake. This is an interesting day to be out here too. On the one hand, it's pretty warm out right now. The temperature is going to rise to about 44 degrees Fahrenheit. However, once that sun sets, it's going to plummet down to about 0 degrees. And all the while, we're gonna have some crazy wind with gusts blowing well over 40 miles per hour. All right, so we can start building the shelter here. This is what I'm envisioning. We're gonna have a beam that goes across these 2 trees. That's gonna be our main support beam. It's gonna be the anchor for the roof, so to speak. It's also gonna hold in place the front tarp, which is gonna be crucial to closing this whole thing off. And that front tarp is actually gonna support a wood stove. So we'll hopefully have some good heat in there tonight. We're gonna need 2 more structural beams that are gonna be diagonal. Now those diagonal beams are not only gonna support the roof, but it's also gonna be something for our walls to lean against. That's where we're gonna have to just go out and find as many downed trees and sticks as we can just to close off the space. They don't have to be structural. They're just gonna hopefully bottle in that heat and keep the wind out. We're not going to be taking any live trees, of course. We're looking for downed wood. In fact, here's a perfect tree right here. This should easily get us 2 beams. starting out by tying some paracord on either side of our center beam here. Each side will then be anchored onto both of the trees, creating our main support. The next step is to anchor the diagonal beams, which will be the last bit of structural support for the shelter. So this is the basic frame here. It came together rather simply, and I think it's going to be a great skeleton for what I'm trying to do here. Next step though is to get the tarp on the roof, and then we'll get the tarp on the front. All right, so now before we can get the front wall on, I got to get our wood stove in place because the hole that's in the tarp has to line up with where the pipe is. And so we got to get the stove in there so that way we can line it up properly when we hang the front tarp. Is it windy today? Our shelter is definitely going to be put to the test, and I definitely need to close down the sides. But man, I'm so hungry. I got to eat some lunch. It might be too windy to cook it out here, but I'm going to give it a shot. It's amazing how much snow has melted here since I arrived. The warmer temperature definitely feels good, but the wind is absolutely bone chilling, definitely putting a damper on what would normally be a very nice day. Wow, this is bad. Thankfully, these noodles were like pre-hydrated. All I'm really doing is heating them up. Otherwise, this would be pretty much impossible right now. Dear God, please help our shelter to hold up tonight and keep us warm. Bless this food, and thank you for this opportunity to be out in the woods. It is the best. Amen. Well, I went very simple with food on this trip. I got some ramen here with teriyaki sauce. It's gonna be good though. Oh no. Looks like our stovepipe came down. That's definitely going to be a problem. Jeez. Well guys, I'm not gonna lie, this wind is making me really question how well this shelter is truly gonna work out tonight. I have no doubt that we're gonna be safe. You know, I could sleep out in my sleeping bag just in the open here and I'd be fine. But the whole idea behind this was to make a cozy, warm little cabin almost out of stuff we found out here in a couple of tarps. The wind is definitely rocking this thing a bit. It's getting up and under, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but we'll find out, I suppose. Now, thankfully, we still have a couple hours before dark, so we've got plenty of time to build up those walls. But before we do, I want to go out and get a little bit of solid firewood. Thankfully, the little island over there has a really nice stash. We're not going to take a ton of it, but it'd be nice to have a few solid logs, at least to test the wood stove, and then have a few for overnight. Now, real quick before we head over to the island to get some firewood, I want to finally tell you a little bit more about this awesome new e-bike that I have. It's from Engway, who is a long-term partner of this channel. I've had a bunch of their bikes. They're all amazing, but this one is on another level. So this right here is the Engway M23.0. This thing's got a 3,300 watt peak motor, delivering an incredible amount of torque. I mean, you saw how easy it was to not only transport me, but an entire sled of heavy gear clear across this lake. It's got an incredible amount of thrust for takeoffs, sprints, and of course hill climbs, which is so valuable to have. It really just maintains a strong output of power without drop-offs, allowing you to do what you need to do, whether it's carrying a bunch of gear or even another passenger. And I love the full speed stability. This thing's got a 100mm and 55mm full suspension system, combined with 203mm front and rear 4-piston hydraulic brakes. What that all means is that it delivers incredible stability at any speed. Whether you're taking a corner fast, braking hard, or navigating uneven terrain, you know that you're going to be able to maintain balance and control and smooth brake modulation. This thing charges up incredibly fast too. It will go from 0% to 80% battery in just 2 hours. So you're able to get back out on the trail as soon as possible. The batteries here on the M23.0 are removable, so you can take them out, you can charge them inside, or just store them in a warmer environment if you're out in the cold like I am. I also decided to add the second battery just to give myself a little bit of extra juice when I am out in the field. I've run out of battery before when I've been on an adventure, and it is not fun. And so having this is just gonna give me a little bit of extra insurance. I've been really impressed with how it's been able to navigate the ice and snow out here. You've got those big fat tires which help you maintain that stability, and the motor really helps us to just continue to plow through the snow. And it's really enabled this adventure today. And then lastly, I just love the design. It's cool, rugged, it fits right in with my style, and I love having it out on this adventure today. So if you want to check out the Engway M23.0, all you have to do is follow the link in the description of this video. They've got a great promotion going on right now. $600 off plus a $114 accessory bundle. That includes a rear rack and a cargo net. I'm absolutely loving this bike. It's been invaluable already on this adventure, and so I definitely think it's worth checking out. And so with that, I want to thank Engway for sponsoring. Let's go grab some firewood. People have been here since we were and they've used a decent amount of firewood. This thing was fully stocked only about a month ago. Just take a couple more. That should be good. Well, that's a nice little load there. Definitely should buy us quite a bit of time inside the shelter. And again, I'm just so grateful for whoever put this wood here. It's just such a gift to other people who come out and recreate here. It's always nice when you can give back to the places that you love, and it's something that I certainly try to do as often as I can. So kudos to whoever did that.
On the island, it was finally time to start building up those walls so we can block as much wind as possible and hopefully bottle in some heat as well.
Well, I can say for certain that it is definitely much less windy in here, and I think if we get this stove rocking, it'll warm up this space really, really well, especially once the wind dies down. Now, I am worried about backdrafting, you know, having that wind come down the stovepipe, but there's really only one way to find out. So let's do a test burn. And there it goes. I knew that was gonna happen. I can try to put that other section of pipe on, but I'll need to like support it somehow because it just wants to tip over, especially in the wind. And even with that, I bet we'll still get some backdrafting. Let's see if that helps at all. We really need a cap on that thing. but maybe it'll help a little bit. Such a bummer. It's getting cold too. I really got to figure this out.
The temperature had already gone down to about 24 degrees Fahrenheit, which was a massive drop from earlier in the day. And as you can see, the wind is stronger than ever, although it is supposed to start calming down any minute here.
Well, I think I'm inside for the night. Thankfully, the fire is burning pretty well now. It's not filling up the space with heat like I had hoped, but it is radiating some heat. So sitting by it like this feels pretty good. All in all, though, it's going to be a very cold night. Believe it or not, I don't think the stovetop is hot enough to boil water. I don't have a damper on this thing, and so a lot of the heat just kind of goes up the chimney instead of radiating up there on the cook surface. Dear Lord, thank you for this shelter. Thank you for a warm fire. Bless this food and keep me safe today. Amen. Well, I've got some pasta with a little bit of summer sausage, I'm not going to lie to you guys, in there. It's a very easy way to make a nice little meal in a shelter. So I'm going to dive right in. Very tasty, but more so, very, very warm. It's warming me up as it goes down. Thinking about my dad right now. This is one of those moments that he would have truly appreciated. Warm fire, simple roof overhead. These are his Carhartts too. I used to steal them from him. Now they're mine, I guess. They have definitely served me well today. They've kept me very, very warm.
All right, it is about time to hit the hay. Right now it says it is 14 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's going to drop down to 1 degree by morning. And my guess is it'll get lower than that, but we shall see. Thankfully, I have my negative 20 degree sleeping bag here, so I'll be toasty warm. And I'm looking forward to a good night of sleep. All right, I'll see you guys first thing in the morning. Good night. Oh, it's so nice and warm inside my sleeping bag. I'm kind of dreading getting out, but gotta have some coffee. Maybe I don't have to get out, actually. Maybe I could just make the coffee right here. I actually was smart for once and kept the fuel inside the bag, so it's ready to rock and roll. Now, whether my water is frozen, that's another story. We'll find out. Oh my gosh, is it cold? I would build a fire, but it just takes too long to get it like raging to where we'd get some good heat, and I'm gonna be trying to get out of here pretty quickly once the sun comes up. So yeah, we'll just suffer for a little while. A little coffee will help, that's for sure. No. Oh no. The cap won't unscrew. There we go. All right, we got water. Oh yeah, that's just perfect. Let's see how cold it is. 1 degree, but it says it feels like negative 13, and I would have to agree. It's very cold, very, very cold. My gosh. Now that the sun is coming up, it's time for me to tear down the shelter and clean everything up. It's important when you do something like this to leave no trace so that the next people coming through can have the same opportunity. All right, camp is cleaned up. I've got the sled packed as well, and I actually moved all the beams from our shelter over to the fire ring. So the next people who come along will have plenty of firewood. They'll just have to saw that stuff up a little bit, but that's a lot of wood, so I feel good about that. Now the only thing left to do is get off of this island and make it back to the truck. Let's do it.
All right, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all so much for coming along. You know, as I said at the beginning, this was kind of an intro for me to making a bushcraft shelter. I wanted to come out and have a victory to hopefully motivate me to challenge myself further in the future, and I definitely think I want to do that. You know, it's so rewarding to take shelter and camp out in something that you put together with your own hands and to sleep in temperatures that feel like -13. It's quite an experience, and I definitely enjoyed it. And if you guys did too, let me know in the comments below, because I definitely want to do more stuff like this in the future. As always, I want to give a special thank you to our patrons who generously donate to this channel. Thank you all so much. But to all of you who watch, comment, subscribe, you're all the reason that we get to do this on a weekly basis, and I am very grateful for that. But as for now, it's time for me to get all this stuff loaded up in the truck so I can get home and see the girls, including Ellie. Hoping to have her out next week, by the way. We'll see you guys then. God bless.